Greetings students, I am Lakshmi Shri from Department of Psychology. Now we are going to learn and understand about motivation and the topics under motivation. Okay, let's jump into the topic. Here we are going to see about what motivation is and where it is derived from. The term motivation has been derived from a Latin word movere, which means to move. Okay, many personalities have derived and framed many definitions for what motivation is. I have pointed out two of the definitions which might be easy for you to understand what motivation is. First, according to Feldman, motivation is the factor that direct and energize the behavior or humans and other organisms. And according to Petrie, the process by which activities are started, directed and continued so that physical or psychological needs or wants are met. Okay, let's have a discussion about motivation. In our day-to-day life, you might have come across such behaviors where you may have wondered why certain individuals behave that way or why they didn't behave in that way. Like from getting something to eat, to help a person who got injured in an accident, or completing a work on time in a work environment. Motivation plays a very important role in these scenarios. As certain behavior may be displayed due to the factor of motivation, it is also possible that an individual may not behave in certain way because of lack of motivation. Let's take an example. A student may not do well in his examination because he or she never felt motivated. There are so many reasons for not performing in the exam, but definitely motivation plays a significant role in there. At the end, motivation, it is a factor that drives or pushes one in a certain direction or to behave in certain way. Now we are going to see about the types of motivation. There are two types of motivation, intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is nothing but the motivation that comes from within a person and include the elements of challenge, enjoyment, mastery and autonomy. Let's take an example for intrinsic motivation. An individual participating in a sport because they just enjoy it rather than to win an award or for a competition. They are going about to enjoy the sport but not for winning the award. This is an example for intrinsic motivation. Next comes extrinsic motivation. It is nothing but it comes from outside the person and not innately, and it usually involves reward and prizes. The examples of extrinsic motivation are reward, prize, money, feedback and so on. Thus, it consists of something outside the individual, which motivators provide satisfaction or pleasure that activities or tasks may not be provided. Thus, the motivators get the individual to do something that they might not do otherwise. Let's take a real life example. We have all crossed our school memories and school days. During those days, there is high expectations for getting high marks, state first rank, school first rank and so on. To achieve that, our parents motivate their children by promising them to give a bicycle or gift they are really happy of. This is a kind of extrinsic motivation. Now let us know about how to increase or some of the ways to increase the motivation. Here comes the ways to increase intrinsic motivation. These are all the ways we can use to increase our intrinsic motivation. First is providing autonomy. Every individuals need to be provided with autonomy while assigning activities, tasks or goals so that they are intrinsically motivated to do their best. When individuals are provided with certain goals, they also need to be given certain autonomy or control over themselves as well as their environment in order to intrinsically motivate them to enhance their potential and motivate them to complete the activity. While providing autonomy to an individual, it is important to note that individual must know that they are carrying out it because they are not forced to do it but because they want to do it. Next comes cooperation. Cooperation is very much needed in a workspace or when an individual is trying to work in a group. Cooperation with others leads to feelings of satisfaction in the individual that enhances intrinsic motivation. Next comes competition. Competition provides an opportunity to the individual to compare one's own performance with the individuals and that can turn into increase in intrinsic competition. But at the end, the competition must be healthy and not in an envious way. Next comes working on higher goals. When an individual is provided with great or good higher purpose, they will tend to perform well and they automatically motivate themselves to achieve well. This enhances the individual's potential to perform well. Next comes creating challenges. Challenging activities automatically motivate oneself to do better. It can be ensured that the activity or the goal assigned has some personal meaning to the individual. Next comes extrinsic motivation, and the ways are mentioned here to increase extrinsic motivation. First one is recognition. Recognition is one of the important factors that can lead to increase in extrinsic motivation of an individual. For example, an employee can be motivated to perform better. When he or she is extrinsically motivated with the help of recognition, recognition may lead to increase in satisfaction of the job, and the individual will derive by carrying his or her own work related activities. Next, rewards and incentives. It is basically given in work environment. Rewards can be financial reward or non-financial reward. Let us take an example of financial reward, the amount that is given to the employee for following safety norms in an industry, whereas non-financial reward could be prize, even attention or recognition. Next comes punishment. Similar to rewards, punishment can also lead to an individual being motivated. For example, from fear of being penalized may lead to the following of safety behavior by the individual. Let's take an example of a student. He or she will prepare his homework in time to avoid any punishment from his or her teacher. Next comes external pressure. Pressure from significant others, not from the strangers. This helps us to motivate ourselves, and this will result in higher performance. Okay, we have seen about what motivation is and what are the types of motivation. Now we are going to see about the theoretical perspectives of motivation. First comes the famous Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it presents the needs in a hierarchical order in the form of a pyramid. It proposes basic needs at the lower end and moving up to the higher needs. According to Maslow's point of view, the basic needs are to be filled before the higher order needs are met. First comes physiological needs. The biological requirements for human survival are called as physiological needs. It includes hunger, thirst, the need for food, the need for water, and etc. When an individual completes the physiological need, he or she is energized to do further activities. When this need is not achieved, one cannot function properly. Second comes safety needs. These safety needs are mostly fulfilled by the family and society because they ensure that their children are being grown in a enriched environment where safety is the most useful purpose. The environment they live should be safe and secure, which result in the satisfaction of safety needs. Next comes love and belongingness needs. At a phase, every human beings needs some emotional belongingness. This is a kind of give and take love and affection. An individual tries to form an emotional connect with similar person or with their sibling or with their parents or with their partners. Here it concentrates mostly on interpersonal relationship. Next comes esteem needs. It is the need for the development of self-worth. When an individual is in a professional setup, they gain some self-worth, and the self-worth in turn result in a better achievement and it gains respect too. This is called esteem needs. And the next comes self-actualization need. This is a need for the realization of a real potential of a human being, or else it can be said as a state of self-fulfillment. In this, actually most of the human beings does not attain this level. They mostly stop in the esteem needs, but self-actualization is achieved by less number of people. This is a pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy needs with the examples you can refer for future purpose. Okay, we all know when there is a thing, there will be good and bad. Okay, though this is a popularized theory, it also faces some critique. The main critic it faced is these needs are not universal as suggested by Maslow, because we face many cultural variations and that cultural variations might influence individuals' priority. When priority changes, the needs are also changes. So, this cannot be followed in a pyramidal order, and this is the main critic faced by the Maslow's hierarchy theory. After the critic, the next one Alderfer, he proposed ERG theory, which is existence, relatedness and growth theory. He proposed similar to the theory proposed by Maslow. However, the theory highlights only 3 levels in place of 5 levels. At the lowest level of the hierarchy, it is existence needs, and as the name suggests, these are basic needs related to the physiological needs and safety needs. And the next come relatedness needs. These are related to social relationships and emotional belongingness. The last level is that of growth needs, and these are related to the need to achieve one's potential, develop competence and so on. The growth needs are similar to the self-actualization needs proposed by Maslow. Both the theories are similar, but the point of view differs from one person to another person. Okay, I hope at the end of the session you might know about what motivation is and the types of motivation and also the theoretical perspectives of motivation. Thank you for listening. We'll meet in the next session.